Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Martissa. I share all things queer family building, lifestyle, gardening, cooking, just what it's like to be a Black queer person in the world today, trying to do what makes her feel good and what brings her joy. So thanks for being here. So this is your introduction to my garden. So it is 2026, and this is the introduction to the 2026 garden season. So obviously I am in my dining room. I am not in the garden right now. But I'm about to start some seeds for the year. And before I started the seeds, I wanted to give you a quick introduction to my garden. So I live in Chicago, Illinois, zone 6B. And our garden season is not the shortest, but it's a little bit shorter. We get nice, warm summers, lots of humidity. I mean, Chicago in the summer is like the best thing in the world. And I am a container gardener. So I actually grow on a balcony. My balcony is north facing, so doesn't get like the most ideal sunlight, but it gets a decent amount of sunlight in peak summer. And this year I am actually getting an 8-foot by 2-foot raised bed. So normally I am growing out of Greenstalk towers. If you haven't heard about them, they are these 7 or 5 tier towers with 6 pockets in each. And they have a reservoir at the top so that you can like water from the top. It'll water each of the sections. I love my Greenstalks. I have gardened with Greenstalks for multiple years now. However, when it comes to like your larger format plants like melons or your big tomatoes or your okra, those I have, in my experience, in my garden, I have struggled to grow them. Now they'll get like, my tomatoes specifically, they'll get nice and tall and like they'll put on some foliage and whatever, but they're not really setting fruit. So I'm really excited to have a raised bed this year to hopefully experiment with those types of plants. So what I'm starting here today is going to be my peppers, my tomatoes. I do grow tomatoes in my green stalks, but they are the micro dwarf tomatoes. So there's like 1 foot tall cherry tomato plant varieties. I'm going to grow about like 10 or 15. I can't remember. I'll have to look at my garden plan. I usually grow a decent amount of them and I get a decent amount of fruit off of them. Last season was the year I got married. So I got married in the spring. And I feel like that whole summer I was just in like newlywed bliss and like not paying a whole lot of attention to my garden. I also struggle deeply with squirrels here, and the squirrels were terrorizing my garden. They were digging things up. They were eating things before I could get to them, all of that. So last year was not the most productive garden season I've had. It was also my first garden season here in Chicago, and I think I underestimated the wind. So this year I don't know if I'll say I'll be more prepared for that, maybe slightly, but I think I'll know going into this growing season, or I do know going into this growing season, what to expect. So the raised garden bed that I will be getting, and I will show you that in a bit. The raised bed I'm getting is a Vego bed, and it's on wheels, which is great. It also, what's really nice about Vego is that they have all of these different attachments that you can add to your garden beds. They have a plethora of things. So if you are into gardening and you are trying to figure out where to start, Vego is a really great place to start. I'll also say Greenstalk is as well. Links below for both of them. But the Vego bed that I'm getting also has a kind of structure over top of it that works both as a trellis, but also so that you can hang protective fabrics around it. So in the winter, I can grab a cold frame fabric and have that over my bed. But in the summer, I will have a pest fabric so that hopefully I can keep those pesky little squirrels out of my garden and from digging into my beds. So I'm really excited about that. The Greenstalks will have less protection. There is pest fabric that you can get for your Greenstalks. I could try that. It's just, I love the look of my Greenstalks when they're super full, they're super lush, they're just beautiful. And then if I were to put like a big kind of what looks like a sheet over it, I feel like it would just kind of decrease some of my enjoyment. So my hope is that once my plants get established, they just are a little bit more, they can like withstand the squirrel damage a little bit more. And also, what I will be doing is planting marigolds in my garden. And my understanding is that squirrels are not huge fans of those. So there will be marigolds all through the towers. And lastly, I've also heard that they don't love peppermint oil. So my intention is to put some peppermint oil on some cotton balls and hide that throughout the Greenstalks as well. And hopefully that will help deter them. So we will see. I will keep y'all posted. But if you have any questions about my garden, please let me know. I'm actually going to put some clips in here that you will watch in a second of what I have done so far in the garden. So there was a little cleanup that I did. I will also put some clips in this video of me setting up the raised bed that I mentioned a bit earlier. Good morning. Today we're gonna do a little bit of playing in the garden because it's 55 degrees right now at 9 a.m. February 18th. So we gotta like live in this a little bit. So I need to do some garden stuff outside. Just like I didn't clean up and put the garden to bed at the end of last year. So I need to do that now because I'm starting to get that itch that garden season is around the corner. So just thought you could hang out with me and come along. So I'm about to go grab the compost bin and some scissors. Since I don't have any shears, we just gonna try and make it work with these scissors, okay? So what I have behind me are my Greenstalks, and I love Greenstalks since I am a small space gardener. I have been gardening for the last 4 years on a balcony. So Greenstalks have just really given me the opportunity to grow a lot of things and actually to produce a lot of food without having a lot of space. I love my Greenstalks. We have eaten so much. I have the most success with lettuces, herbs, micro dwarf tomatoes. I've had really good success with peppers, less success with my cucumbers. So I'm going to be putting that in the raised bed this time. And I'm also excited to have my raised beds because I will be able to grow some okra and some larger format, like indeterminate tomatoes. Even though I still think I'm going to do a mix of indeterminate and dwarf. The dwarf so that my trellising system doesn't have to be super, super high. And yeah, we'll see. But I'm going to go in, like I said, with my scissors. This is not recommended. And gotta cut back some of this foliage, put it in the compost, and continue just kind of cleaning this up. So I'm hoping that my time here is actually gonna come back, but I'm gonna give it a pretty good prune. I am not convinced it's gonna come back because we had a very, very cold winter here in Chicago. So I don't know if it will, but if it does, that'd be fantastic. If not, I'll plant some more. It smells so good. All right, so this is where we've gotten. All of these are cleaned out. I have some of my perennials in here, just kind of hoping, praying that they are not dead, but they might be dead because we had a very cold winter. And what happens is when you're growing in containers, the roots are not as insulated as if they were in the ground. So you can actually the cold can actually kill off the plant at the root system, which would be a problem. So it's just some sage, some oregano, some rosemary, things like that. If they don't come back, that's okay. There's also some chives in here as well. So if they don't come back, that's totally fine. But happy with this. Now I'm tackling the storage bin. I'm about to reorganize that so I can put the supports also in here, and take out anything that is not necessary. Okay, so I'm about to get to reorganizing, and my trusty support is always close by. In here we've got some of my seed starting trays, the supports, the extra tiles for this floor that I told you I was going to fix are in here, some fertilizer and potting soil, and then some bags for the fireplace or the fire pit. So that is done. So this is where we've landed. We've got the Greenstalks all cleaned out, minus the perennials. The floor, don't mind that, it is very filthy, but we're supposed to be getting a thunderstorm tomorrow, so I'm gonna let the rain do what it does, and then when we know we're not gonna have any more snow, so we won't have to salt, I'll come out here and actually clean the deck. Got that cleaned up. Again, I just emptied the water that was there, so it wasn't gonna continue to get more. I mean, I know it's going to continue to get more water on it, and I'll just continue to have to empty it. Those I will wait to empty into the Greenstalks. And then my hope is to try and get a hose hookup that I can hook up to my sink and be able to actually clean my seed starting trays. If not, I will do it by hand. Yeah, so everything's kind of where I needed it to be. Indy was a great helper. And yeah, I'm excited about this season. Now it's time to finish up the planning, and so now I can really get excited about garden season. Since I have like a nice little blank canvas, I'll order that new bed I was telling you about, and now it's really about planning. So I've started doing I've pulled seeds that I know I want to grow, but I really need to decide. How I do it is I look pocket for pocket in my Greenstalks, decide what I am dedicating space to, so then I can decide what seeds I'm starting and how many of each seeds that I'm starting. So that'll be the next step. And next, in a couple of weeks, I will order the bed and the trellises, and I'll show you that process of putting that together. All right, and here is the final bed set up. Very, very excited. This is the 2x8 Vego elevated raised bed. I also have the pest and trellis that will be coming as well. But as of right now, this is what we have. I'm very excited. Also very excited that I actually am going to be able to have all 3 of my Greenstalks out here. So 2026 garden season is ready and kicked off. And now let's get to planting some seeds. So I'm going to take these outside to fill so that I'm not getting dirt all over my counter. I'm going to wet them and then I'll bring them back in and put the seeds in. All right, friends, we've got soil. I had to put this hoodie on because it's quite chilly out there, but let me take this hoodie off and then let's plant some seeds. Alrighty, so we're not gonna plant everything out today. Just going to be focusing on my 6 to 8 weeks. As of right now, this is in the past for y'all. It is March 13th and we're about 5 weeks out from the average last frost date. But apparently my understanding is that most Chicagoans actually use May 15th as their last frost date. I think that's really kind of when they plan on, transplanting those things out into the garden. I am going to start a little bit earlier than that, but just kind of play it by ear. If I need to up pot these plants, I will do that. I had to do that last year and it really wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, so that's going to be the kind of plan. Uh-oh, sorry, pumpkin. Over here kicking my dog. So let's start with our peppers, shall we? Okay, so I have 5 varieties of peppers. I'm gonna try and do 1 of each. My intention was to not grow peppers this year, but then I was like, oh, why not? So I'm gonna do 1 of each. I'm doing a Yummy Bells snacking pepper. I'm gonna do a jalapeno. Oh shit. A sweet banana pepper. A shishito, which love a shishito. And then lastly, this for me is for fun. The others are a little bit more utilitarian. I know we eat all of these. This is a hot pepper that last year I made into a syrup and put the syrup in my spicy margaritas. And it was so good. It was the best margarita I had ever made. So I'm really just growing these peppers for that reason. And they're called Sugar Rush Peach Peppers. I also intend to can up some peaches. We have a watermelon guy here on the south side that comes through with peaches and watermelons and pecans from the south. And his peaches were the best peaches I've ever had. And so I'm excited to get a good amount of those peaches, can some up, and then maybe make I've seen people make a hot sauce with the Sugar Rush peach pepper and some peaches. And I'm like, that sounds yummy. So we're gonna do 1 of each. I'm gonna start in the middle here. And I made a split decision here. I'm actually going to do 2 shishitos, so 6 peppers altogether. Because these snacking pepper seeds are quite old. Yeah, they're very old actually. And I don't know if they'll germinate, so. All right, first rounds of seeds are done. Let me show you. So we started with our tomatoes and our peppers. We did some marigolds, some collard greens, and a couple of flowers, straw flowers, and some mint, thyme, and rosemary. In a couple of weeks, I will get the rest of the seeds started. Okay, friends, let me give you a little seedling update. It is April. It is Wednesday, April 15th. The seedlings I'm about to show you are just have just been planted, or I've just started them maybe a week and a half ago, maybe a little bit less. Yeah, because I started them this weekend. So yeah, definitely about a half a week ago, just a few days ago. So the first set of seedlings a few days ago. The second set of seedlings was in March. So these are the most recent seeds I've started. So everything has not germinated yet. But oh my God, we have some action. We have some blue curly kale. Some Laciano kale is just coming up. Happy birthday, little guy. So happy you're here. I got the happy birthday from Jess at Roots and Refuge Farm, who is one of my absolute favorite YouTubers. Mustards. Back here we have okra, which I can see we have some germinating. I'm so excited. And then my zinnias are just literally popping. Just poppington. So cute. Hello. I think also we need to adjust this light a little bit because I can see that my zinnias are leaning. Basil over there in the corner. I still have not figured out how to zoom into this with this camera. Oh, that's how you do it. Okay, learn something new every day. So we've got mammoth basil back here, dill, tulsi, and cinnamon basil. Cinnamon basil's coming up, tulsi's coming up, and the mammoth basil's coming up. The dill is taking, oh, wait. Can y'all see that? There is a little dill baby. Oh, the dill is coming up too. So exciting. Seed starting time makes me so freaking happy. And then we have our lettuce babies. This is an assortment of lettuce varieties so that I did not mark. So it'll be a surprise what we get. But I try and do a lot of lettuce. I probably will seed some more lettuce after this. There's some in the garden that I'll show you when we go out there. But, I don't think you need to be that close. Ooh, nobody needs to be that close. Wait, friends. Oh my God. I don't think you can see this. Right there is a little germination from some okra seed that I got in Atlanta. It's 2026. In 2024. We were there for my cousin Chanel's, who I do the podcast with, her 30th birthday. And we went to this farm that her and her husband, Manny, had gone to when they went on like an anniversary trip. This black man, farmer, who does these like Airbnb experiences where he tours his farm and all of that. And so it was their second time going to the farm. My first time, Mars and I's first time, and Oakley's first time, because Oakley was with us too, Chanel's daughter. And we went to this farm. It was hot as hell, but he just like showed us his entire farm, all the things that he's growing, his different varieties. And like Chanel and I, being the garden girlies that we are, were eating that shit up, obviously. And he was so generous to like, he gave us a couple of like houseplant clippings. And he gave both of us a bunch of okra seed. Last year, I did not do any research about how to grow okra. I quite literally just threw the seeds in the ground or in the soil and like was like, blessed be. This time though, I actually did a little research and I soaked them overnight, well, about like 24-ish hours, and then I put them in the soil. And last year, Maurice's okra did not grow, but this year, I have germination. I am so excited. Now, my hope is, I think I'm going to be getting a community garden plot, and I think I'm going to put my okra all in the community garden plot, which I think will be better for it than in my elevated raised bed on my balcony, which gets a lot of wind, and okra grows really tall. Also, I believe, do not quote me on this, but I believe that okra has a taproot, and the elevated raised bed is shy of a foot deep. So I just don't know how deep okra's roots get, and it might just be all the way happier in an in-ground raised bed. So I'm so excited. I might be in a lot of okra this year. Okay, let me show you the other seedlings. All right, so these are my earlier started seedlings. Like all of my tomatoes, except for I did order a few plants from the Tomato Man. So there's that, but these are my micro tomatoes, mostly in the front here. I had some poor germination here, so I put a nasturtium here this weekend, We've got my peppers. There's a couple peppers back here. We've got shishito. Hold, please. Hey, friends. So I said hold, please, and never came back. So this is editing Martissa here, about to quickly show you an update on the seedlings as of today, which is April 28th. So it's been a few weeks since then. Let me show you. I have moved things around, but since that last update, things are looking absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I have planted some new seeds. So like back there, we've got a cucumber and a zucchini. Zucchini's not quite coming up yet, but we've got one little Space Master cucumber. And then in the back there, we've got some collard greens. Let me get you all in focus there. Collard greens back there. I need to up pot these. I'm just waiting on some more nursery pots. We've got some Mars kale, which obviously I will be keeping. I will grow every year because that is my spouse's name. And we've got our tomatoes. Most of these tomatoes are micro dwarfs. We got bonsai micro tomatoes, Laura micro, Venus micro. There's a chocolate micro. It might be on the other side. But then our larger format tomatoes is we got a Paul Robinson here. And in the back there, we have Isis Candy. We've got our peppers. And let me zoom out here. We've got some lettuce that's looking really good in the front and some zinnias and marigolds. So as of today, things are looking gorgeous. So the tomatoes, the peppers, the collard greens, those are all, oh, and these marigolds are all plants that we planted together at the beginning of this original video. The rest are things that I started after. So everything's looking good. I potted them into some compost and they are absolutely loving it. My peppers were really puny up until I divided them and got them in the compost, and I can see that they're starting to take off. Peppers take a little minute, so they have another month or so before I really need to get them out. So when we're past our last frost, but ideally I would be starting and putting them out in mid-May, but I can even push it a little longer, I think. So we shall see. Let me show you the other ones. So here's the other set. I gotta say, this is the side I'm super, super proud of. All of this was started later. We've got some lettuce up front here, some basil, cinnamon basil, tulsi, dill. My dill got really, really leggy, and I'm not sure why when everything else is super squat and healthy, and you know that I need to up pot this basil. But other than that, there's a gnat over here that's really been driving me crazy, but I need to up pot the basil. I need to up pot my kale. This is some curly kale, Vates kale, and Lacciano kale. Vates kale I did not have germination for, which is okay. And then there's a whole, but all of this is mustard greens back here. We love mustards in our salads. If we get big mustards, we'll put them in greens and things like that. But we mostly just put those in salads and adds this pepperiness. Here are my okra back here. We've got Hill Country, red okra. We have red burgundy. These are some really, really old seeds. Let me see if I can bring it a little closer so you can see. You can see here, these were strange because the seed pod never came off of them as they germinated. And so I ended up having to take them off, take the seed pod off, and kind of stunted those leaves a little bit. So we'll see how it does. My plan is to get those up potted tomorrow as well once I get those nursery pots. And then we have some Clemson spineless back here. On this side, We've got more beauties. Zinnias in the front, some tomatoes, another Paul Robeson, a pineapple tomato. These are the really exciting Maurice's okra here, some lettuce, peppers. My Sugar Rush peach peppers are doing super, super well, which I'm super excited about. And then we have an Isis early and more lettuce, more peppers in the back. So that's where we're standing now as of April 28th. And yeah, I thought I'd show you since I abandoned job last time. But when it actually kind of works out because you get to see what it's looking like today. Only, like I said, maybe 2 weeks before I plant out. I don't know. We're going to see when I plant things out. It would be ideal to plant some stuff out mid-May. And maybe I will do that with like my tomatoes and my zinnias and my basil and things like that. And then see where my pepper's at. And maybe I'll plant those at the beginning of June. Part of the timing here also is now we're coming up against my honeymoon, which is at the end of May. And I'll be gone for a little bit. So I want to make sure that things are doing well while I'm gone. So we'll see. Thanks y'all for joining me in the garden this week. If you enjoy and want to continue to see this garden season, please like, comment, and subscribe because this is what you'll find here on this page. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you soon. Bye, y'all.